So congratulations if you've made it to this stage. Now it's time for us to run an application and see how it looks like. So we're going straight to the package.json. Now on the package.json, you're going to look for this called script. It starts and ends here. You should also have something similar to that. Now within it, we're going to be placing another script, and that script is actually called a starts. Now, what are we starting? We are starting up a Node application, and the file that we want to get started is the app.js. So we're going to indicate the app.js. So it means that the app is going to get started on the app.js. So what do we do? How do we run this now? So the first thing that we do is to do npm start. That's what we're going to do. So let's write that on our terminal. So we're going to say npm start, and we just wait for the moment of truth. So as you can see, our app is already running. It said app is running at port 5000. Don't mind this typo, which means that it's actually running this because we actually stated 4000. So how do we get this on our browser? So what we do now straight is to go to our browser. I type in localhost colon 4000. And once we do that, we get a response that we sent earlier that this is home page. So congratulations, we've been able to make our first request called get. Now we're going to be adding some more, logic to this. So how do we go about that? So the first thing that we'll do is to add some cool stuff into this and add more of this request so that you understand the rat parameter. Now I'm going to repeat the process again just to set up another get request. So right here, this is another get request, but with another route. I'm just going to repeat myself for the sake of understanding. So app.get, right? And it's going to take the first parameter. The first parameter is route. So we want a situation whereby you do /about. So you take it to another page. So that's what we actually want to do. Then we put in the callback function. So if you look at this and the first one is almost the same, it's exactly the same. So I would have just copied this and just edit it, but I just want to repeat myself just for the sake of understanding. So this is request, and the next is response. Of course, you know what you're going to be doing. We're just going to want to send something as a rest.send. So rest.send, and then what are we doing? We're sending into the front end. Now, we want to say about. About is actually what we want to say this is about page. So we can put in anything here, about page. You could send anything possible. You could even send an object. Yes, you could send an object like this and say message, MSG, and put in whatever message that you want to place in there. I think this is should be my column. Then put in whatever message you want to place and say, hey, from about. So you can do that. So I've just done that. Now, what's the next thing I'll do? The next thing is to run this again. Now, if I come back to this, I save that, I go back to the browser, I try to refresh, or I try to run what I just did and said /about, I'm going to be having some issues. And that is what we want to fix. So if I do localhost colon 4000, then /about, I'm going to be having some issues here. It's saying that it cannot find about. As you can see, nothing is found. We can't reach this, even when we saved this. So what do? We have to stop this server that is running and use a Control-C and rerun that. So we'll say npm now start. Now we've stopped the server with a Control-C. Now we'll do npm start. So during the npm start, we're just going to watch and then go back to this again and try to run this. So we went to 4000 and boom, we go. Oh, I placed 400. So that would have been 4000. Okay, even with that, if you had placed the order, if I placed 4000, when it wasn't changed. So we can see this was what we sent to the front end, right? And this is what we are seeing, just the app dot. So /. So you understand. So if you want to do contacts, you do / contact. So these are called the routes. So in the nearest future, we're going to be separating this from this, and we're going to separating all this as well. So, but for now, this is the concept and this is how it works. Now, you can see that this is a pain in the ass. Anytime you try to, to run your application, you always come back here to end this, and this is not too fantastic. You start, you end it, you start again. So if I make any change, for example, I just want to make just a little change to this. I said, just want to say, hey, and I save. I have to come down here and stop it, Control C, and then I have to start again. I run it back, npm start. And once it's running, then I can go back and see my change. Now, if you understand what we've just done, you'll notice that this is not really too efficient. That means I will always have to change the content of my code anytime I change in anything from the server. So if I change anything here, even if it's just a dot that I had to read, if I want to see it, I have to stop this, I have to restart it, then before. So you can see that process is not too fantastic. What about if we have something that is going to help us to check for that? It's going to help us to check for changes. So once we just do the save, it's just going to stop the server and restart the server again. What about that? And we have something called nodemon. So let's see how we can install nodemon. So I'm just going to terminate what we have here. So I'm going to use the Ctrl C to terminate what we have here. So we'll go to the terminal. So I'm terminating it. So we have to install what is called nodemon. So how do we install nodemon? We said npm install nodemon. So what is the usefulness of nodemon? Just as I said, nodemon is actually to help you automatically, restart your server in such a way that it will take that heavy lifting of you starting up the server all the time, stopping and starting the server. Now, how do we get it work? Now, nodemon is already installed. We don't have to require it. We are not requiring it. We'll just use it right away. So how do we use it and where do we use it? You go to your package.json. On your package.json, you find the stats. This is the part that says stats. And you have the node and the app. Now, instead of this node, now we're just going to change it to nodemon. So we're going to say nodemon, and that is it. So what it means is that it's just going to start. As you can see, nodemon is already installed. This is nodemon. So once we do npm start, it's just going to go to nodemon. Nodemon will watch this server and say, oh, I want this to get started. And anytime any changes made, I want it to get to restart. So it does those heavy lifting for us. So let's save that and give it a shot now. So we're going to do npm start. And in case you don't know, if you want to use your previous command, just use the up key on your arrow here on your keyboard, the up key, up or down key. So you see your previous command. If I do this, I see my previous command. You can go as far as possible. So this is the command I want to just hit npm start. Now it's getting started. Now you can see it's quite different. So nodemon is getting everything started for us now. And the package is running. So that means that I have this. So if I come down here and refresh this, everything still works well, still goes the same way it is. Now, if I add any stuff to this, I don't necessarily have to come down here to stop it. Now, what I will just do, for example, I say, hey, this is my page. So let's check out that. So I'm going to go hit my Control X. As you can see the changes here. Right, so that's what it's actually doing. It's doing that heavy lifting for us. So if we go back to our page, all we just have to do is just to refresh, and boom, the new stuff that we created comes in. So this is what we're going to be using from now on. So far so good. We've been able to make set up our server, be able to install nodemon. In the next class, we go further. Thank you.